Hello, hello. Happy Friday night. Sorry for the late notice, but I figured my family just got back. I was watching the kids today, and now I have an opportunity to do a live stream. So I give you all a lot of notice. Anyhow, we got 5 people in here. It's enough. It's enough for a party. 5 people, right? 5 people is plenty. It's almost too many for a party. 25. All right, now we got a party. 25 people. Rocking and rolling. We got Todd T in the house. T squared. Let's go. Keith Fail Mesger out there on the open ocean right before he saw the great white shark, and he says, "We're going to need a bigger boat." What's up, D. Lloyd? Just getting back into vinyl and loving it. Greg McHenry. I was in a play with a guy named Larry. Actually, I was in 2 plays. The guy named Larry McHenry, Pensacola, Florida. We were in a streetcar named Desire together, and then we were in You Can't Take It With You. Larry McHenry. He's a postman, of all things. Very good actor, though. Larry, if you're watching, please reach out to me. I don't know where I think he moved. I think he moved to Ohio or something. Ramon Delgado. Hey, happy Friday. Cheers from Chicago. Cheers to you, Ramon. Why have you not reviewed the great powered studio monitors Adam Audio T8s yet? Well, I've never talked to them. They may have reached out to me, but it could have gone to like my spam folder. I generally kind of sort through the requests that come in, and I'd love to, but I haven't gotten a request from Adam Audio. They probably don't know who I am, so that's the reason why. However, I think I'm going to take a list of things to buy that I haven't really gotten from manufacturers. I'm going to do some more reviews on things that I buy. To make a long story shorter, what's up? What's up with you? Dear friend of mine just found a bunch of his DBX vinyl. Can't wait to try it. He has 2 decoders, and we're going to play around with it this weekend. That sounds like a nice little weekend, Keith. Shake SPV. Hey, Randy. Much love from Detroit, the Motor City. Much love to you, my friend. From Cattletown, USA. I'm just hanging out watching one of my favorite YouTubers. Hey, thank you. To make a long story shorter. All right, we got 70 folks, 70 people, 70 persons. Give it a like if that matters. I don't even know if it makes a difference. We are not relations, sir. I think McHenry is probably a pretty common name. So, doesn't surprise me. Have you done reviews on 2.1 computer speakers like Klipsch or anything? I have not. No. I think the Klipsch, nice Nirvana t-shirt though, with George Washington. I think the Klipsch, I can't remember what they're called. They're 2.1s. I mean, heck, I think you can buy them at Walmart, or at least I saw them at Walmart once. And I know you could buy them at Costco. I have heard nothing but great things about them. I would probably do that, but I don't know how many people would actually be interested in watching that. I know I had a set from Logitech. That was pretty cool. It was pretty good. So I think the Klipsch, I don't know why I can't remember their names. The 2.1s, I don't think you can go wrong with those. And I think they're pretty inexpensive. He called us people. I did. Persons. Just got my 3rd NAD 7240 PE from eBay. All arrived dead on arrival. Ooh. Once bitten, twice shy, 3 times die. I don't know. That stinks. I'm sorry to hear that. It's got to be super frustrating. Big Mike Larry in the house. While not cheap, I would love to hear your review some of the Paradigm Founder series and get your perspective on how they compare to some budget options. I would love to. I like Pro Media. That's it. Pro Media. I would love to do some more Paradigm stuff. I can't remember the model number. It was when I was buying everything, and I bought a pair of Paradigms. They're good. Aluminum dome tweeter. Pretty good. I liked them. Pretty affordable too. Wasn't bad at all. All right. Is it possible to get good? Okay, we already talked about that. Oh, is it possible to get good sound without conditioning the room? Yeah, of course. Like putting up materials on the walls and ceilings. Absolutely. I mean, unless you're like in a glass box or a cinder box rectangle. I mean, like room treatment helps, but it's not gonna like people always say like, oh, the room's the most important thing. The room's the most important thing. I've never treated nothing, and I can still hear all the differences in speakers, amps, DACs, turntables without ever treating my room. Now, can it get better? Of course, absolutely. But unless you're living in some type of science fiction prison, like plexiglass prison where everybody can see through and see what you're doing in there, unless you're listening in a situation like that, or a cave, it's probably not going to be bad. I mean, if you got carpet, you got some things on the wall, maybe some curtains here or there, you're probably good. I mean, there's bass issues with rooms, but even with a bunch of room treatment, bass traps and things, it's not necessarily going to take care of it. You probably want to take care of bass issues like with DSP. So, yeah. I mean, I got somebody sent me in some room treatment stuff, and I put some stuff up behind the speakers. But like my first reflection points aren't really conducive to putting anything up there because like at one point, like my first reflection point on the right side is actually a curtain. So I mean, I'm pretty confident that that's probably a pretty good room treatment right there. But yeah, I wouldn't worry about it, man. Like if you can't afford room treatment, don't give it a second thought. Not saying it's like doesn't help. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that people that put a whole lot of emphasis on room treatment, I don't know. I just don't think we need to put that much emphasis on room treatment. You can do it super cheap too. Make a little frame, get some real thick towels, put some Owens Corning insulation in there, and then you'll be good. I throw a blanket over the flat screen since it is the first reflection point on one side. How does that work over the flat screen? How does that work when you're like enjoying movies? I'm just kidding. I'm just being silly. Find an old office that is getting rid of those old ceiling tiles. There you go. If they're made out of asbestos, even better. Hey, with a budget of $1K, what's the best turntable, speakers, amp, anything else needed I can get with that $1K? All right, let's do this. Let's see if I got it in me. All right, we have $1,000. $1,000. You want a turntable? All right. So we're going to start with the Yamaha AS301. I think it comes in around $350. So we got $350. It's got a DAC. Doesn't have a USB DAC, but it has a optical in there, and I believe a coaxial, and it has a phono preamp. Okay, that's $350. Then we're going to go with the Fluence RT82 or U-turn Orbit. I think the RT82 is $250. All right, so now we are up to, what is that? $400, $600. All right. So now we have a DAC, we have an amp, we have a turntable. Then we will add, what are we up to? So 250 plus 350 is 600. All right. Then we'll add a Weem Pro streamer. Okay. So that is, let's just say 150. I know it's a long 150. All right. So that's 750. All right. So now we have streaming, we have Bluetooth, we have AirPlay, we have Chromecast, Tidal Connect, Spotify. Okay, so now we're at 750. So now we have $250 left over for speakers. Now you're probably going to have to find some cables here and there. $250 left for speakers. If they were in stock, I would recommend the Emotiva B1 Plus, but I think they're out of stock right now. So then I would go with, it's a really good speaker for $250. I wish you could stretch a little bit to 1100 because then you can get the B2 Plus. So I would look at, come on, Randy. What did I just talk about? I mean, you can get like the ELAC BS41s. That would be okay. Those are 150. You could get the Sony SSCS5s, depending upon their price. That's 150. Yamaha Concert C93 a little bit U-shaped though. You can look at the Polk ES15s. So that, I think that's a pretty decent setup for around $1,000. You may maybe slightly over $1,000, but it's a good integrated, very good. You got streaming, you got vinyl, you got everything. You got a phono preamp, DAC. Heck of a deal. Heck of a thing. Heck of a deal. All right. Papa Wheelie. You're welcome. There we go. That was fun. All right. Mike Schmidt. Love your show. I got an SR 5008 Marantz using R51M and I and R and a R34C center channel speakers. Very cool. Very cool. I hope you have a subwoofer. R51s need a subwoofer. Asbestos tiles make great bass traps. There you go. Why LPs over digital CD? Are you asking me? Or are you asking the guy that asked the question? I don't think one's better than the other. I enjoy both. Jack Corker. Big no. I don't know what that means. Is there someone named Jack Corker in here? No. Michael Brown. Here we go. Just set up an IEMA and Weem Pro attached to a recapped set of vintage Sansui. Oh, cool. And this $325 system rocks. Thanks. You're welcome. Thank you, Michael Brown. I bet it does rock. I missed any super chats? I get to talking and sometimes I miss things. Oh, here's a good one. Need advice. JBL Stage A130 versus Dolly Spectre 2 watching from the Philippines. Wow. If you can swing it, I think the Dolly Spectre 2 is probably the better speaker. A130 sounds great. Dolly is a better looking speaker. Dolly makes their own woofers. They're both fairly neutral. The A130 really sound stages and images well. Dolly Spectre 2, though, is a little bit more refined, I think. So I think Dolly Spectre 2, probably the better speaker. All things created equally, if they were the same price, I'd probably go Spectre 2s. Hey, from an old Navy vet, happy Memorial Day, young man. Thank you, Mike. Happy Memorial Day to you. I never feel like, I kind of get weirded out when people say thank you for your service over Memorial Day. I feel like it's kind of like to remember the folks that, you know, gave their lives in service to the country. Like Veterans Day, I feel is like kind of like my day, but I appreciate it. And I appreciate your service, my friend. I love I love all veterans for the most part, unless they're sociopaths. Hey, Simon. Good evening. No notification. Late to the party. Hey, dude. Like I didn't know if this was going to happen tonight, so I didn't want to put out like, hey, we're going live at 8. But wife got back, so I'm like, hey, I'm going to go do a live stream. We'll do it live. So yeah, we got 148 people. No notice, 148 people. Not a bad turnout. What about Klipsch 5s on sale for $549 and turntable for $1K? Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I hesitate to recommend that though because I've actually never listened to the Klipsch 5s. I've listened to the 7s, which I think are brilliant. Listened to the 9s, which I think are even more brilliant. But I've never listened to the 5s, so I can't really say yay or nay on that. I've heard their bass cannons, but I've also heard that now that they have the EQ working for them, that it might be a viable option. Full show. So yeah, that might be a good option. A little small though. I have $600 to spend. Good traditional 5.1 system with that money. Okay, so let's do this one. For the receiver, you're probably going to have to look for something used. For the speakers, though, I would go with the Yamaha S series, the 5-channel setup, which is I don't know if it's $147 anymore. It was recently $147. So with that, you have $450. Is my math right there? Yeah, $450 to spend on a receiver. You're probably going to need to find something used. And then you're going to need a subwoofer. So let's say you spend $250 on a used receiver. You get a couple $100. You can get a Yamaha. I think Yamaha subs are on sale too. So that's what I would look into. Now, if those aren't on sale, this whole plan falls apart. Hey, we got some super chats. Hold on. Hey, Michelle Mosier, $5. Thank you. Have you checked out the Magnapan LRS Plus or the Bucart S400 Mark IIs? No to the Magnapan. I'd love to, but I don't think they send out samples or the Bucart S400 Mark IIs. I think I had the S500. I had the one that like everybody raves about with the passive radiator. I had that one in. So yeah, they're good. They're warm. I think they're a little bit overpriced. I mean, they're beautiful, great crossover, passive radiator, but a little bit outside of my wheelhouse. And I think I remember comparing them, I think I had the S500 Mark IIs. Anyway, they weren't cheap. I don't know if I've had the S400 Mark IIs though. Very good. I think the LRS Plus, probably if you have like decent power and if you can put like a high pass filter on there and then add a sub, I think and you have the room, right? So you need to bring those out a little ways from the wall. I think they'll probably be great. I've never heard them though. I've never heard them. But thank you so much for the super chat. Lawton Chills. Look at that LinkedIn profile picture you got there. Hey, I want to get into headphone high-end streaming. What components should I go with, please? If you could recommend a difference in thinking between headphone and desktop systems. Well, they're a lot different. I mean, so headphones, you're going to probably hear more detail. Speakers, you're going to hear a different type of sound stage. I want to get into headphone high-end streaming. I would, if you've got $1,000, I would get the Hi-Fi Min Edition XS. I don't know if you're in the US. I look at the Gishelli Labs Oracle 2.5, a Gishelli Labs J2, and then I'd use your computer as the streamer. If you're not in the US, I would probably look at something from like Cambridge Audio has a really good streamer. It's $500 though, so it's expensive. And then they have the DAC Magic 200, which is also a headphone amp. Then you could also look at something like the SMSL. I would look at the SMSL what is it? SU9N. SU9N. And then I think they have a matching headphone amp too. So I'll look at something like that. But the High Feminine Edition XS is brilliant. If you can't afford that, you can look at the High Feminine Sundara that comes in around $300 now. Those are my two favorite headphones. Yeah, I'll go with one of those. But yeah, you can get a really good headphone setup for $3, $4, $5, like $500. And if you use your computer, you don't really need you don't need a streamer, right? Because you can go computer to DAC, stuff like that. There's a ton of like decent options out there though. But I'm partial to Shelly Labs. I'm also partial to Schkit. They have the Lear, which I really love. Hope it's not good. Sometimes I grab things and they're actually hooked up. So this to me is like the ultimate in headphone fun. It's the Schkit Lear Plus. It's got a tube in it, obviously, but you can also switch it to solid state mode. So you can take the tube out of it if you want to. But I was going to say, I can see myself breaking this tube off. You'd need a DAC with that, though. So you can look at something like the Magni, something like that. I love that thing, though. Love it. Simon, $10. Thank you. Thanks for joining us tonight. Have you any experience and opinion on Monitor Audio Silver 50 speakers? Thanks in advance. I think I actually had those in. I had for a while, like they were making the rounds, like Monitor Audio was making the rounds. I can't remember if I bought, I think I may have bought them and then returned them. They were pretty good. I remember thinking though that the enclosure was a little bit vacuous. Like there was a lot of like cabinet resonance, but it still sounded good. I think it's kind of a fun speaker. I don't think it's the last word in like neutrality. And I think there is some resonance, but I mean, if you're thinking about those over like something like what you already have, the SVS Ultras, I think the Ultras are going to stomp them. Like convincingly. I remember also thinking when I bought them that these look good in pictures, but they don't feel like they're built as well as they should be for their price, if that makes sense. There's some things that look like you get them and they look better than the pictures. There's some things that the pictures look really good and you get them and you're like, well, Bill Cook, $10. Thanks for all the great unbiased help you give everyone. You're welcome. I think some people would probably argue that I'm biased. There's a lot. I have a lot of favorite companies that I talk about a lot, but they also send me a lot of stuff. British Audiophile just released a video on them. Oh, maybe it's a new speaker from Monitor Audio. I guess it was probably 2 years ago. They had 100s and 50s rolling around. So if it's a new speaker, I haven't heard it. If it's 2 years old, then I heard a version of it. And it was the cheaper version because I bought them. So yeah. No breaks. Where can I find quality assembled passive crossovers or a custom crossover designer? I've done some cabinet building and I enjoy designing plus building speaker subs. Thank you. Love the channel. You are welcome. Not Dayton Audio. It's Dayton Audio branded. Parts Express offers crossovers. You'll buy like a crossover free, like it'll be crossover, I don't know, 1500. High pass, low pass at 1500. Now that's all well and good, but you kind of need to know like the Theo small parameters of your speaker. A lot of people they take the Theo small parameters of a driver and then they put it into a program called XSim, and then you can start modeling crossovers with that. There's also a company called Matty Sound, and Matty Sound sells crossovers, woofers, tweeters, things like that. and you can contact them and they will help you with crossover design. And I'm probably contingent on you buying something from them. They're not going to do it out of the goodness of their hearts. They probably would, but if you're going to contact Maddie Sound, and they're out of Madison, Wisconsin, so it's spelled Madi Sound, and they got a great website. I've met the guys over there. They're really good, really nice guys, and so I think they would love to help you out designing a crossover. And so you can pick the drivers. They probably have some recommendations for drivers that work well together, and then they'll tell you what you need to do. Otherwise, you can start playing around with at CrossSim. What you can do is go to Parts Express, and any Dayton audio driver actually has the Thiel small parameters. So what you'll do is you'll download, and CrossSim is not like it's freeware, so it's kind of a pain. But there's another YouTuber called Toids, Toid, Toids DIY, and he is probably one of the best repositories of information on building your own speakers. And he goes through and I've actually talked to him, and before I ever started my channel, I actually talked to him on the phone, and he helped me design a crossover. I paid him, but he's a great guy too. He's got a great channel, Toids DIY, great channel. So if you're into anything to do with DIY speakers, I'd start with Toids DIY. I reach out to Matasound, and they'll help you out. That's what I'd do. That's what I would do. Why don't you do any negative reviews anymore? Some of my favorite reviews that you did were tumping over speakers. I quit watching Z reviews because everything was great, so nothing was. You know, most stuff is good. I don't necessarily think like I think my review style has changed. So unless something is true, if something's truly bad, I'm probably not doing the review. But most stuff from most reputable manufacturers is good in some type of way. So I try to kind of talk about the good. And then if I don't like it, I usually don't review it. But I will talk about some of the negative aspects of a product. Here's the thing though, like even if you give so I've given some lukewarm reviews to some NAD products. Guess what? They don't send you anything anymore. So unless I go to a buy everything type of a model, you got to kind of talk about the positives of a product. And even if you talk about the positives and then you talk about like something negative about it, some people can get upset. There's some manufacturers that are super cool. They don't care. But a lot of them do care, obviously. So, I don't know. I mean, I got the Klipsch RP600M Mark II sent to me. I didn't love it. And actually, I did a review afterwards because I'm like, this doesn't sound right. So I actually repurchased a pair of RP600M Mark I's and then compared them. And I liked the Mark I's better. Klipsch was cool though. So yeah. Depends on what your definition of negative is though. Like usually I do it in a way that I'm like, if you like X, then this is not the product for you. So I think if I was sitting here saying this is a bad speaker based on like what I like, then that's a crappy review. That's a really bad review, right? Because my desires for a piece of hi-fi equipment may not meet up with what you want. So for me to just say, hey, this is better than this, that's actually a really lazy review. And now I'm placing myself as being like the foremost expert on all things you. And I'm not the expert on you. So the only thing that I do is I listen to a product and I try to describe its sound signature. And then I try to compare it to other things. Maybe it's similar, maybe the dissimilar sound signature. And then I try to say, hey, who is this product for? And then I talk about, I wish that maybe things were different. But again, like, I think people that are like kingmakers or saying this is a brilliant product, the best product or whatever, that's not a good review either. because they don't know you. It's the thing, man. It's like chocolate cake. You may like dark chocolate. I may like milk chocolate. If I'm going to sit here and say, hey, dark chocolate's garbage, this milk chocolate is way better. Is it? I mean, might not be for you. So I kind of got away from like saying this is bad or good. I still do like tongue in cheek, best of speakers. I just did it like my 10 favorite speakers, but that's my 10 favorite speakers. I'm not saying it's the 10 best speakers, although maybe I did say it's the 10 best speakers, something like that. What I meant though is like they're my 10 favorite speakers that I like the best. If you're like wants and desires kind of line up with what I like, then that's awesome. But I try to talk about what I like about a product, and I try to talk about what I don't like. And I've done over 715 videos, and I've answered thousands of questions, thousands of comments, and like I try to describe the product the best I can. And then whether or not somebody wants to buy that product, depending upon what their wants are and needs are in a product, that's what I try to do. I think people that say this is garbage, unless it's really garbage. Yeah. Movie Junkie John, $5. Thank you. Got some old Technics speakers on Facebook for $45 with a Sony receiver. Super loud, and I love them. How is it I like these more than my Klipsch? Klipsch have a specific sound, man. The thing about it is, though, it's a different sound, right? So what you're used to is you've been eating Papa John's pizza for a long time, and then all of a sudden, some Pizza Hut stuffed crust. Like, man, that's pretty good. So you put away. So what I would say is put away the Klipsch for a while, and then pull them out 3 months later, and you're going to be like, hey, these Klipsch sound pretty awesome. It's just kind of like what we're used to. And anytime we hear something different, we assign that in our head, this is better or it's worse. And we rarely assign this is different. So what you're probably hearing is differences, and your brain is saying it's better. And it could be fun. But that's why I always think that like having two different sounding speakers, maybe a neutral, maybe a warmer sounding speaker, and then maybe a livelier speaker, and then kind of working them in and out, bringing one out. It's kind of like if you have kids, you take some toys that they haven't played around with for a while, you put them in a box, and you put that box in the attic or your closet. And then 3 months from now, you pull those toys out and you open it up, and they were like, whoa, it's like new toys. And then you take the toys they've been playing with and you put them back. So it's because they haven't seen them, they haven't played with them, they haven't heard them, that they're re-engaged with that thing. So that's another reason like why people say this speaker is better than this, or this is the best speaker, instead of describing what that speaker sounds like and then saying, this is the best speaker for somebody that may be interested in this type of sound signature. I think that that's a better way to do reviews. I think is more valuable to other folks. And I think it's less egotistical on the reviewer's part to just describe something and talk about, what it may pair well with and who it may be applicable to. So, yeah. Alfred Tolentino, $4.99 twice. I don't know if you meant to do that. Thank you very much, Alfred. Very nice. Fluence RT85 was my pick. I think you're answering somebody else with a very long username. Greg McHenry again. Rainey, you do an excellent job of what you just described. Thank you. I think it also helps that I'm kind of an idiot. So it's easier just to kind of describe something and then compare it to something else. I'm no kingmaker though. If I see something I think is a great value and it's like punches above its weight class, I'm going to scream it from the rooftops. That's why the Emotiva sale going on right now I've talked about it like 3 times in 3 different videos because I think it's a legitimately awesome opportunity for folks to buy a speaker that sounds incredible and get it at a lower price than almost ever that was ever offered at. It's not for Emotiva speakers are not for everybody. Some people think they're ugly. Some people think they're fatiguing. I get it. If you're into a warm sound, Emotiva speaker is not the speaker for you. But to get a pair of T1 Plus towers for $500 is nuts. Still looking for the Andrew Jones salsa. That, you know what? Somebody got botulism and they shut the whole thing down. Anybody in the chat have an opinion on the spin bass? I actually reviewed that. It's pretty good. It's different. I mean, don't expect like high fidelity, but if you've got a corner, you want something cool, you can put it together. It looks really good. It sounds cool. It sounds different. I think they charge a little bit too much for it, but it's cool. Emotiva subs are for everyone, and they are cheap too. That's right. Thank you. Emotiva subs are on sale too. Do you feel strongly that the vintage Yamaha integrated amps are worthwhile? I have a used CR840 ordered that sparked and smoked after 8 hours of usage. Is the sound worth the risk? Oh, okay. Here's the thing, like vintage Yamaha sounds actually like kind of new Yamaha. So I have a CR800. And luckily mine has not spit smoke out at me. It does have a pretty nasty hum though. But I was amazed at just how neutral sounding that was and like how hi-fi, like current hi-fi sounding that was. So I think with vintage Yamaha, outside the variable loudness control, but actually anything in the AS301, 501, 701, and 801 all have a variable loudness control. I actually think those sound almost like dead on to what my vintage Yamaha sounds like. So with vintage Yamaha, I don't think you're getting like this weird Sansui-ish, not weird, realistic-ish, Marantz-ish. I don't think you're getting that kind of vintage vibe. But to answer your question, is vintage worth it? It can be, but I think you're going into this with the right mentality that like you're taking a risk when you buy vintage gear. I got a lot of friends who's had vintage stuff, and at a certain point, everything's getting worked on in some way or the other. I've had my Yamaha worked on twice, and it still has a nasty hum. So, yeah, no guarantees. Even if you get it worked on, even if you get it serviced, you got 50-year-old components in there, man. I mean, there's bound to something's going to go wrong. I think though, there's a lot of modern integrated stuff sounds really good, and I think Yamaha modern stuff sounds pretty good. To me, it's a little thin, but that's why I use tone controls and the variable loudness. I can get it sound pretty darn good. And for $350 for the AS301, I think that is a bargain. Bargain. The world is full of interesting stuff, and there's even bigger stuff out in space. Absolutely, Rob Hawk. Thank you. $13.99 Canadian. Are you sure you're on the right channel tonight? Like, you could be looking for a different channel. Either way, I really appreciate the super chat. Very much. Very much. Hey, Cam, I have a amp. Vishal. I have an amp that does not have a sub out, so I use the pre-outs in the sub's low-level input. Would it improve my sound to introduce a component that would allow me to high-pass filter? It could. It could. It might not either, though, because sometimes there have been some subwoofers that I've had that they'll put a high-pass filter. So what you can do is you'll pre-out into the sub and then pre-out back into an amp or whatever it is. And I've done that before, and I've had stuff just like completely collapse the soundstage. So there is a risk that you run if you're actually running your signal through something else to put a high pass filter, that it could. It could. I think unless you're running like a speaker that maybe cuts off like at 70 hertz or something, that you're fine not putting a high pass filter on something. If you want to play really loud though, putting a high pass filter on a pair of like bookshelves or something, you're going to be able to play louder because you're not sending all that low bass frequency to the speaker. It just depends on what your situation is though. So I wish I had an easy answer for you, but like most things, it depends. If you have a big bookshelf that's going down to like 40s, I wouldn't worry about it. If you got towers, I wouldn't worry about a high pass filter. And if you're listening at reasonable levels, I wouldn't worry about a low pass filter. Looking for a good budget 2.1 amp, ideally with Bluetooth. Budget is $100, give or take. Oh, give or take $30. Any suggestions? All right. 2.1 amp, ideally with Bluetooth. Fozzy Audio BT20A Pro. Although I don't know if that has a sub. All right. This is what I get for actually not cleaning up my office. Is most of the stuff I have right at my fingertips. So this is going to do it for you. It's got everything you want. So pre-out right there. So it's a 3.5 millimeter pre-out. Bluetooth right there. And it comes with a decent power supply. You can pop it open, change out the op amps if you want. $100. Probably the best deal. You're going to get 3255 Texas Instruments chipset. Sounds very natural. You're probably going to get 50 watts into 8, probably 60 watts into 4, less than 1% THD. I think it comes with a 32 volt power supply. Yeah. Stunningly awesome for $100. There you go, Adam Devereaux. Hey, I just ordered a pair Killjoy, $10. Hey, I just ordered a pair of B2 Plus speakers, SB1000 Pro sub. I can't wait for them to arrive in a day or two. Well, I dig it. I sure hope you will. Thoughts on stands? Love the videos. If you want like a purpose-built stand, I think you can get their Monoprice makes stands. You can go to Amazon or you can go to Monoprice. They have 4 like square metal tubes. You can fill it up with kitty litter, pudding, Cheerios, whatever you want. Probably something like sand or something a little bit heavier though. They're built like tanks. I like them. I have 2 pair of them here in the house, and I think they're like $60 a piece. They only come in like a specific height though. So what you want to do is you want to make sure you get the right height for the right speakers you're going to put on there. So I think it's the best deal in speaker stands, about $125 Monoprice. The ones that have the four tubes in it. And I think you'll dig it if you're into a detail centric speaker that is a bit. Oh no, the B2 Plus. Oh yeah, you're gonna dig it if you like detail. I don't think they're as clean through the mid range as the B1 Plus are, but I personally like the B2 Plus better than the B1 Plus. Yeah, you almost don't even need a sub with them. But yeah, I think you're gonna dig it. You're gonna dig it. SB1000 Pro also has a killer app too. So, yeah. Did I miss a super chat? Right there. Greg McHenry. Where did that go? There we go. $10, Greg. You're so nice for the coffee fund. Love it. Love what you do. Keeping hi-fi audio real for us beeps. Hey man, that's what I've wanted to do the whole time. I actually I never set out. I thought it would be cool if I could make, I don't know, a little bit of money doing this. I thought it'd be cool if I could get some hi-fi stuff sent in to me to review. I never thought it would be a career. And I came into this thing with I want to help people. Like I want to listen to all the ick and then talk about what is actually good out there. And I think I've helped out a lot of people, which is really humbling. And it's really cool to think that, because I just wanted to make YouTube videos that's actually help people find stuff on a budget, right? Even not on a budget, some more expensive stuff. So, yeah. Anyway, thank you so much, Greg. Appreciate it. Any advice? Hammer dulcimer. Wow, I like that. Any advice on dialing in a subwoofer connected via high level inputs? Yeah, I would put on a song that that has rhythmic bass, and then dial it to the point, like turn up the gain to a point where like it sounds really good, and then pull it back just a little bit, because whatever we think sounds really good is too much bass usually. So get it to where it's like, man, this sounds really good, and then edge it back. And then if you have variable phase, get kind of close to your speaker with that rhythmic bass, whatever, something that you're really used to, and then dial the phase until the bass sounds like it's coming from the speaker. And then you're done. Bob's your uncle. There you go. I got the SB1000 Pro sub on discount. It is fully guaranteed, but must have been returned. Very cool. SVS is a great company. I like it. Coffee Fun, Scott Reisig. Thank you. Tonight we're drinking A&W, zero sugar. I wish they sponsored me. It'd be really cool. Like, they wouldn't even have to pay me. It's just like all you can drink soda. I would totally take that sponsorship. Yeah. I guess mini DSP isn't high level inputs though. No, but like the 2x4, it'll take in 2 channels and it would spit out 4 channels. So you could send a full range channel. Actually, you could send a stereo channel out that actually has a low pass filter on it. And then you could send out a stereo channel out that has a high pass. You could do that for sure. Adam, get the Fozzy BT20 Pro. There we go. I got a mini DSP 2x4 and managed subwoofer plus speaker crossover EQ, since I don't have an AVR that does all that fancy stuff. Pretty happy with the results. There you go. Look at you. Look at Mario and Pikachu. We thank veterans on Veterans Day. On Memorial Day, we remember the following. James Garfield. For love of country, they accepted death and thus resolved all doubts and made immortal their patriotism and their virtue. Yeah. There you go. Is that it? Did I miss anything? No, I think I got it all. All right, let's just go up and grab one in the middle. Here we go. Jared Petrosky. Hey, Randy, can you explain why turntables need a phono stage? Are they just so low power they need to boost their signal before it reaches the amp or receiver? Yes. Basically, it is the gain on a phono cartridge is super low. So you basically have to amplify it twice. And then phono preamps have like an EQ, RTII or something like that. They have an EQ baked into them specifically for phono cartridges. So yeah, you're right on it. They basically need 2 levels of amplification before they get to the amplifier. Thank you for the great answer. Reply whether to high pass filter my sub or not. If I were to be interested in trying, what component would you recommend? You'd want to high pass your speakers, not the subwoofer. Your subwoofer should have already a low pass filter integrated into it. You could look at the mini DSP 2x4. Then there's some other products out there that I think have some like passive crossover componentry in them. And then there's some subwoofers. I don't think you're in the US though, but Emotiva SE8 and SE12 have an integrated high pass filter. So you go RCA out into the sub, then there's a high pass filter on it, and then back into your amplifier. And then I think SVS used to have a fixed 80 hertz high pass, but I think they did away with that. And then there's some integrated amplifiers that actually have some bass management. Parasound is an integrated amp that has some bass management in it. Emotiva, TA1 and TA2 both have integrated high pass filtering for the main channels. But if you already have some equipment, the mini DSP is probably the way to go. There could be some other stuff out there, but I can't speak on any of it like confidently. I know that the mini DSP, and if you're a little bit technically savvy, you'll be able to figure it out. No problem. Actually, I think Z Reviews has a great video on mini DSP. Is NHT still around? They sure are. I was a huge Super Zero fan. Yeah, I bought some and they're okay. I didn't love them, but yeah, they're certainly still around. Yep. At Simon Hackshaw, I was recently made aware of the difference by my son who is currently serving. Yeah. Either way, I mean, it doesn't really matter. Memorial Day is a great day to like thank anybody. But yeah, it's like you're remembering all the folks that died. I think really we should remember everybody that actually served too. But I don't want anybody saying, "Hey, thank you." You know, Veterans Day is cool, man. I get free pancakes on Veterans Day and a free cup of coffee. I love Veterans Day. Love Veterans Day. Everyone's so nice to you when they find out you're a veteran. Greets from Germany. Man, did you go to Munich? I would have totally gone to Munich if I was in Germany. Of course I would. Thanks for the great answer. Enjoy some A&W on me. Thank you, Jared. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. They run around the room barking, looking for them. It's hilarious. Ooh, that sounds like a fun conversation. Where's Mike? Gregory McHenry. I don't know what GSD is. I'm not very good with acronyms. Hey, Randy, a couple of recommendations for future videos. Single driver speakers in a budget and oversampling in a budget. Like for a DAC? I'm not a big fan of single driver speakers. I mean, I think they do everything. They're like, okay. They're okay. I think, and a lot of them are super overpriced too. They're all right. But you can get like a two-way speaker with a decent crossover. That's going to sound way better. Like I have never heard of like a single driver speaker that I've been like, I could totally have this or use this. No. And oversampling on a budget for a DAC, I think a lot of DACs like do some oversampling, or you can oversample, but like I don't necessarily think that there's any huge benefits from oversampling. Some people like say, yeah, there is. I think I had a Denifrips Series 2 that I put into oversampling mode or something, but really it wasn't because I was like heard any huge like monumental difference. It was because someone said, hey, sounds better when you put it in oversampling. I'm like, all right. So yeah. Recently snagged an Onkyo NR 7100 / Pioneer LX 305. Very cool. On sale, $699. Wow. Your review pushed me to get it. Really surprised how good it sounds in stereo. Wharfdale Diamond 2x PB 2000 setup. D-Rack is slick too. Yeah. That's cool, man. $700 for a receiver with D-Rack in it. That's cool. We already talked that one. No, I'm in Dusseldorf. Yeah, no, but like Germany's not like Germany's smaller than Texas, man. Like if there's a huge like audio show going on in San Antonio, I sure as heck would be on my way down there. I'm just saying they just had the big Munich show in Germany. Is TPA 3255 really that much better than TPA 3116? Yes. I think it is. Sorry to hijack the feed. Listening to Pink Floyd Animals with my dogs. It's great entertainment. Very nice. Laugh out loud. I am from the US. Cool. Were you asking about headphones? Then I would totally get just Shelly Labs or Schgit audio. Sorry. I mean, that was like, it's kind of crappy of me. I just figured maybe you're in like, not in the US. I don't know. I get a lot of folks in here that aren't from the US. It's not like your name Mike Smith. So you have to excuse me. I was just trying to be polite, like, and like suggest things that you would have available to you. Any recommendations for a neutral cheap DAC? SU1 from SMSL. It's $80. That's the best. That's the cheapest best DAC I think I've heard. Appreciate the sub advice. Any thoughts on focal speakers? Considering picking up some Cora 816 or 826 now that they've dropped in price. I've only heard one set of focal speakers, and it was at a focal dealer, and I liked them for about 15 minutes. And then it got to be a little bit intense, even in the showroom, right? So focal's probably not a speaker for me. I thought they sounded good. I think it was whatever the cheapest bookshelf speakers there were. I listened to those. Like I said, I thought they sounded good, but at any levels of volume for me, it's going to get fatiguing, and I don't like fatiguing. So yeah, but they're super well respected. I mean, people love them. They're super expensive, or they can get super expensive. So like, I think if you like the sound, it's a well respected brand. So there's a lot of people that like focal speakers. So yeah. Ever listen to vintage Kef speakers? I have not. Is that what I said? SU1? That's what I said, right? The Nebraska Mart is bigger than Germany. Compact disc guy. Sinatra used to put out a new record every year. Yeah. Actually, I listened to, there's a great channel called Punk Rock MBA. Absolutely great channel. And basically, like in the music industry, you would put out a record every 2 years. So you put out a record, you'd tour with that record, and then you'd basically start recording a new record, and then 2 years later, you'd put out another record. That was kind of like when like records were being released on physical media. That was kind of like the 2-year cycle. Is Emotiva having clearance sale to prep for a new products redesign due to similar size SC12 or XS8 might be in the future? I cannot comment on that. I can neither confirm nor deny that. The only thing I can tell you is that they're having a crazy sale. So yeah. Cora 806, they're a little forward, but with neutral to laid back amp, they work well. There you go. There you have it. Thanks for your time and joining us tonight, sir. Have a great weekend. Simon, you have a great weekend too, brother. Watch out for the mosquitoes. My old M audio monitors must go. They're dying a slow death. The amp speaker volume output has to be balanced 50% above the other for stereo sound. Ooh. Sorry to hear that. Alpha 60. ABX audiophile. What's up, man? Hope you're doing well. Cheers, Randy. Any thoughts on the new Ever Solo Streamer DAC? I haven't heard it. I did like their. I have one of their DACs here. I thought it was great. I thought it was really cool. I haven't heard it though. So, but I'd like to get it because I don't think it's like super expensive. Like it's expensive, but I don't think it's like ridiculously expensive. So I should get it, or I should try to get it. You know, when I used to do my first videos, so I didn't do any editing, right? And so I had the same shtick, like, let's talk about bass, and then I'd take a drink, and like, and so I would always take a drink. I'd have coffee, right? which actually this is from this morning. This is how gross I am. I just have, because I get crazy. I do a bunch of stuff and then I just have like coffee. Anyway, I had like a lav mic right here. So every time I would swallow, it would just be like this grotesque swallowing sound because I'd have the mic right here. I didn't know, like, I had no idea like to edit or not. And people are like, dude, your swallowing sounds are super gross. And that was legitimately one of the reasons why I started editing initially, is because my swallowing right next to the mic. Is there a big difference between using arc optical for output from the TV? People would say no because it's ones and zeros. I've never A-B'd HDMI versus optical. The only time I use optical really is when I can't get the HDMI eARC to work. So that's the only time I use optical from a TV. Usually I use HDMI ARC if it's working, but I've never A-B'd it. People swear though that there's a difference between optical and coaxial. I have never A-B'd that either. But if you have both, then you can A/B it yourself and see which one you like better. But yeah. So I don't know, unfortunately, Zach. But if you have the option, try it yourself. See what you think. Fair enough. Laugh out loud, Starbucks. I always just give the name Vic, way easier, from the Bay Area, California. Yeah, man. I didn't mean to like make assumptions, but I get a lot of folks in here from overseas, and like I make a lot of recommendations with Giselle Labs, with Skit, with Emotiva, and like they don't have overseas distribution. Most of them don't. I think some of them may. And so they're like, yeah, but so anyway, I made an assumption. It was wrong of me, but cool. You got the option for everything. I like coaxial way better than optical. Better dynamics and volume. There you go. Optical doesn't support more than 5 channels. There you go. Use HDMI. Didn't take you for a wallet type of guy. You seem like a fanny pack type. You know, fanny packs have like come back in to for whatever reason. Like I saw my mother-in-law, she was wearing a fanny pack. I'm like, what? And I like asked my wife, I'm like, is your mom wearing a fanny pack? She's like, yes. Shh. And so anyway, I pick up the kid. Well, not anymore because the kids are out for school. But anyway, one of the ladies was wearing a fanny pack, and she's like all decked out in workout gear. I'm like, is that a fanny pack? She's like, no, it's a running pouch. I'm like, but that's a fanny pack, right? She's like, yes, it's a fanny pack. I'm like, when did that happen? She's like, it's been back for a while. Like, you ever see the picture of The Rock? Like he's wearing a turtleneck, black turtleneck, huge like gold chain, the big kind of like balloon pants from the 90s, and like a black leather fanny pack, and he's just sitting there. Fanny packs. You know, if you say that to somebody in the UK, it has a totally different meaning. Ridge Wallet Gang, big fan. Actually, yeah. Their sponsor. Come on. There we go. Ridge. They're not sponsoring this video, but they are, however, sponsoring the channel. So yeah, I didn't know what to think of this one because I got. So this is an extra wallet. It's on the ground. Anyway, this used to be my favorite because you got a little button down here and it spits out your cards. So when I got the Ridge, I was like, I don't know. The takeaway here is I used to be a big wallet guy, but I love these little wallets now. Oh, give us the link. Yeah. They're getting a freebie here. Ridge.com/cheap audio, man. We'll just do the thing. So if you go to ridge.com/cheap audio, man, you get up to 40% off by bundling a bunch of their awesome products. You can get pens. And if you don't like it, you can send it back because Ridge has a satisfaction guarantee. You can get something cool, like a pocket knife and a bunch of cool wallets. Ridge.com/cheap audio, man. Actually, there's one in here. They got some free publicity today. I like Ridge though. I think they're cool. This pen is actually really good. I've been using this pen. That's got like a real stealthy, super stealthy. There it is. Like logo in there too. This is a good pen. Like I really like it. Get somebody with it. Louis Sipes, my brother, my Kentucky buddy. There are people that I have met through this channel that I am truly humbled to know. And Louis Sipes is one of them. Salt of the earth. Wonderful man. Wonderful man. Your recommendation of DAC, Dena Aries, really changed things. Mick. That's my brother's name. Actually, his name's Michael. And, and when we were kids, everybody knew him as Mickey. And then he changed it to Mick. Is that you, Mick? Probably not. You don't even know what a DAC is. Hi, Ben. Hey, Martin. Louis, my brother. Have enjoyed it. Great long weekend, Randy. Mike Strahan. BG in here? Martin, you're in here. Where's BG? There it is. Michigan checking in. Better late than never. Ben, I just surprised people. I just jumped on here. I didn't know my wife was going to be back in time because she had to go to a graduation for somebody else. So I was here with the littles. And I was planning on doing it at 8 o'clock because that's I think I'm changing the live streams. Ideally, the live streams are going to be every Friday night live. Remember Friday night videos? So ideally, they're going to be Friday night from here on. I didn't know, though, that I was going to be able to do one tonight. So I didn't promo it and put up a thing like, we're going live at 8. 7:55 I did. It's like, hey, we're going live at 8. I just wanted to see if anybody would hop on. And you know what's funny is there isn't significantly lower amounts of people in here as there would be if I would have been promoting it all day or something. So no, I'm just hanging out. Listen, I know as audiophiles, as middle-aged audiophiles, I know our social calendars are probably jammed tight. So Friday night might not be a good time to do these. Just kidding. We're all a bunch of audio nerds. Of course, we're not doing anything on Friday night. A lot of good people in the cheap audio man group. Draws like Randy. Yeah. Well, Louis has been a big part of the our Patreon community. So is Martin. So is Ben. So is a lot of people in here. We have the best, and this is not a plug for the Patreon, but our Patreon's pretty legit. We have a Facebook group if you're so inclined. We have a Discord server, and then every Sunday night we have Zooms, and we've done it almost every Sunday for going on 2.5 years. And so I have gotten to know a lot of folks personally, and I know that they have gotten to know each other personally. So it's a great group, and we no BS is allowed. So if you're going to be a jerk, you're not going to be one for long in the Cheap Audio Man group. We can have differing opinions, but we can do it respectfully. No gatekeeping, no nothing. Good stuff. Mike Osmond, good evening. I just walked in from mowing the yard. I saw your live. What up, Mike? We are live. Kind of a last minute thing. No Friday plans except for being glad the week is over. Correct. Yeah. I'm kidding. Like, I'm sure most people in here are like my age or around my age. And since we're audio nerds, not like we're going to the club. The only thing I would be doing is going, if there was a concert that I liked, I would be doing that. Other than that, I like to be in bed or on the couch watching YouTube about this time. So I figured if I like to be watching YouTube at this time, why don't, since I have a YouTube channel, go on at this time. Killjoy's 57. Young 57. Howdy. Not a bad idea. I was just coincidence, but maybe I could get him to give me a slight deal on an amp, seeing as I missed the sale by days. I don't know which sale. Martin, you're 58? Dude, I would never have thought you're 58, bro. I thought you were my age. Oh, never was just putting out their age. Mick, you're 48. You're definitely not my brother then. My 97 rave days. I remember 90 was 98. Maybe it was the end of 97. It was in Orlando, Florida. And we went to some clubs. And what was that? Oh my God. I cannot remember the name of the band. Smash Mouth was the name of the band. That song was played so many times in the clubs in like 97, 98. Smash Mouth. 42, 64. Ira's 100, sprightly 136 years old. Stem cells and green vegetables, apparently. Alpha 64. Brooding Yeti 42. Whoa, what just happened? Oh, I think my camera died. Hold on, let me change out the battery. Oh, that battery's hot. I've never had my camera die in the middle of a live stream. Here, let's see if that might be the problem. Let's see if that works. See if we can come back from this. we might be starting. Oh, no, that's not the right camera. All right, let's try that. Something's happening. There. Hey, look at that. Yeah, we had a battery die. Ooh, hot battery. Hold on. I got a new camera like 6 months ago, and it's a better camera, but it's a battery hog. Like my old camera would just go for days and days and days. All right, 42. Oh, thanks, Ben. See, okay, this is another thing. Hold on just a second. Here we go. Here's another thing. Like, I am tight with a bunch of my patrons who I've given my cell phone number to. Probably a bad idea, but I get a lot of backup because I just got a text from one of my patrons that says, dude, you got a super chat. Killing for company. KFC sounds delicious. Cheers, Randy. Kellen from Kentucky here. I'm a big heavy metal fan. Good. With a small 11 by 13 room. Speaker tower recommendation. Under 2,500. Driving it with a Rogue Sphinx V3. I don't know, like my recommendations are usually pretty low. I think in a small room like that, you're not going to need some big towers. You get the T1 Plus from Emotiva, $500 right now. You get the R200 from Polk. I think they're $750. They'll go down on sale to about $550 though. Let's see. For that budget, dude, you get some Linton. And I know Linton probably isn't a speaker that you'd associate with metal, but I listen to metal on the Linton all the time. The Linton's from Wharfdale. $1,200, you can get the SVS Ultra, and they have an aluminum dome tweeter, so you're really going to get some bite in cymbals, percussion, guitars in the the upper registers of the guitars, like and the ultras also have that grunt, so when you stuff like that, ultras are good. I would go with if you have a $2,500 budget, I would definitely look into the ultras, Polkar 200s, Emotiva T1 Plus, B2 Plus. Actually, the upper end ELAC, I would look at those too. Unify reference, I would kind of skip, but there's another level above that I think they're actually on sale. What else would be good? If you can get the height correctly, the Wharfdale Evo 4.2s are a sick speaker, man. But you got to get them just right. Like it's a sports car, right? You can't just throw it up. It's not a Toyota Camry. But if you get the Wharfdale Evo 4.2s, just the right height, crazy good speaker. Ugh. High school in the early 80s. Oh, the music was awesome. Might as well be walking and listen. And piece of jump and up. Okay. 50. 50. No All Stars. Shrek killed that song. But they were played in the clubs before Shrek like ever existed. Hey Kellen. Nicholsville here. Whoops. I'm 30. Been an audiophile for 63 years. Yep. Paris. 57. Audio only live stream. Listen, my sorry, we're way behind. The battery died. Technical difficulties. That's authenticity. Authenticity is when the battery dies in the middle of a live stream, you change it out and you get back up on the horse and you keep going. I don't have any production assistants here to yell at. What the hell? 1976, Year the Dragon. It's me, 76. Recently bought a projector with a Yamaha SR B20A due to budget constraints. Did we mess up sound-wise? Or is that fine enough to start with? I don't know that specific model number, but yeah. Recently found your channel. Great videos. Here's the thing about home theater receivers. Like they change like annually. Like they put out, I think during the global lockdown because of the sickness. Apparently you can't say that on YouTube. You can get anyway. They used to put out like a new receiver almost yearly. So think about that. Like 4 years, the receiver you bought 4 years may have had a two generation improvement on it. So yeah, don't worry about your receivers. Like there's some really good ones coming out, but guess what? Like next year there'll be another one. Oh, we all start talking about how old we are and webcam died. Coincidence? Could be, man. Smash Mouth walking on the sun. All right. I'm gonna get down here at the bottom. All right, we've been rolling for about okay, we're gonna do 10 more minutes. All right, we're gonna do a tight hour and a half. Usually I only do an hour on these because I was told I need to have boundaries. Because I would used to do like 2-hour live streams, 2.5 hour live streams. Ben Gleason. I've heard the LRS. Very good. Very unique sound. Like no driver in a cabinet. There you go. BG says get him. Best amp plus speaker combo for under 1K for vinyl. It depends, man. It depends on what type of sound you like. So if you just need, like, do you need an integrated amp? 1K. So if we're going to split it 50-50, I don't know, like a ton. So you can get the Yamaha AS501. I think that's around $500. Let's see. Cambridge Audio. It makes some stuff around that price. Then you can look at the Emotiva TA1. I think that's right around $550. And then for $500 for a speaker, you can look at the ELAC Unify 2.0. Very neutral. You're going to need to burn it in for a long time. But that speaker is a very good speaker. You could look at the R100 from Polk. It goes on sale. You could look at the Emotiva B2 Plus. They're currently at $360. You could look at the, let's see, the TA1. You can get a pair of them for $500 right now. So I just did a best, my 10 favorite speakers regardless of price. Legitimately just did that like a couple days ago, 3 or 4 days ago. I would check that video out because I talk about a bunch of different speakers. But yeah, for like $500, I would look at the Yamaha AS501, Emotiva. The Denon PMA 600 NE still kicking, very good, right around $500. That's a really good amp. I wish I would have kept that, but I bought that amp. At the time, I didn't have a bunch of money, so I had to return it. Replaced my mid-90s Nuance with T2 Plus and B2 Plus. Very nice. Have one. It's awesome. Hey, Louie. Thanks, man. Dude, I seriously, looking at your picture, I legitimately want to go get KFC now. Casmo, you have a special calming yet stimulative effect in your delivery and tone. I can't quite describe the comfort I get out of your bantering. Well, thank you, Cosmo. Yeah. I think my wife would rather have me talk to you than talk to her. But I appreciate that. I know I have a unique inflection and timing in my voice. It is not common. Randy, I have 2 Wii Mini. If I'm using external DAC and Wi-Fi, is there a reason to go with a Pro over the Mini? Thanks. If it's taking care of what you need it to and you're using external DAC, no, not really. The Wii Pro is like you're bordering kind of on a preamp when you're talking about the Wii Pro because you have a proper like RCA input, you have another digital input, you have a coaxial output. So there's a lot of like there's more features with the Wii Pro. But if you don't need those features, no. And especially if you're using an external DAC, no. Nope. NAD 316B V2 is a damn fine amp at $499, 45 watts, Class AB, punches above its weight. I didn't love it. I know NAD is like a great heritage company. They put out a ton of equipment I did not love. Wait a minute. I don't know if I heard the 316. I heard some vertical. I think the 316 may be their last Class AB because I've heard like 3 Class Ds from NAD, and I've been kind of like on all of them, and I thought they were all overpriced too. Maybe the 316BE. I swore I did a review on that. No, maybe not. Thanks for your videos. Really enjoy them. Thank you, Robert Bonilla. Hey, John Frost, $199. Thank you so much. You're the best. Hey, all caps. We all think the world of you, Randy. You have a good head on your shoulders, and your advice is 100%. Well, thank you, CJ. Appreciate it. Cam comes is, I don't know what that means. Moved my Klipsch RF7 3s to the home theater. Put Emotiva T3s into the stereo after some burn-in. I'm very pleased. I think I'm going to get a pair of those. The T3 Plus. I haven't heard them. ASMR Audio Man. All right. 5 minutes. All the other amps are Class D. Yeah, maybe I haven't heard that one. All right, I'd go. Martin's chiming in. I'd go with Yamaha or a Cambridge instead. Greg Palmer. Not sure if you saw my comment on the album Angel Dust from Faith No More. I really hope you get a chance to listen to it. It may open some doors for you. Brilliant musicians way ahead of their game. I love Faith No More. I listen to a lot of Faith No More. I'll have to check that out. I haven't listened to a ton of Faith No More, and I don't know their albums off the top, like their album names, but like I grew up like listening to Faith No More. Did you know that they started making like music in the early 80s? Crazy. Faith No More. Love this Ridge pen. It actually is really good. It writes really well. Angel Dust. I had a Luxman R114 back in the 90s. It was stolen. Is that mine? R114. That's like what we use for coolant. R114. Hey Randy, have you had the chance to check out the Eversolo DMP? No, the second question I've had in here though. I'd love to. I haven't though. Midlife Crisis, great Faith No More song from that album. Randy, you would not be dissatisfied with the T3s, punching way higher than the current price point. I have to get them. They're really cool. Like, here's the point. Here's the crazy thing, though. Like, I'm getting to a point where I've done so many Emotiva reviews that it's getting like a little bit absurd. That like I just like every other video seems like it's an Emotiva video, but they're super cool and they send me whatever I want, and it's really good stuff too, and it's a really good price too. I'll tell you what, if like Polk sent me everything they made, I would be doing a bunch of reviews on Polk too. This love chat is cozy and calming somehow. Feels like we're around a bonfire. Hearing good old Randy. I would love to be around a bonfire. Hot dogs. Went to a cookout. Last day of school cookout last night. One of my daughter's friends' parents. It was really fun. Had some cheeseburgers, potato salad, homemade guacamole, hot dogs. It was really fun. I don't know why I mentioned that. Oh, we got bonfire. Yeah, I would totally love to like get everybody 180 people around a campfire, s'mores, hi-fi, good old time. Your vids are a breath of fresh air in the YouTube sphere. Returning audio file burnt out with Marantz K1 signature amp and CD player in the 90s. Thanks, Mick. I just think of my brother, like, because there's not a lot of people named Mick, right? So, yeah, he's way smarter than I am. Do you have a audio gear? Yeah, I do. So, not in my current vehicle because it's all integrated. Come to find out though that like if I dug way into the settings and I actually have an EQ in there, but it's kind of gutless. So there's not a lot of bass in there. I could like pull off like I could make it like a low level. I could use speaker level inputs to run like a sub in there, but it's not like anyway. Let me back up. So I had a Toyota Sequoia 2005, and it was like replete with audio stuff. I changed out every speaker in there. Had an amp for the front speakers, an amp for the rear speakers, an amp for the subwoofer. Had two 12-inch subs back there. My son still has that vehicle, Kenwood head unit. Yeah, it was pretty legit. And then I had a Ford Explorer, which was actually a company car, and I took out the factory speakers, and I went in there and I put some DSP in there, and then I had an amp, and then I had a subwoofer in the factory speaker, so in the company car. And I was so lazy when I turned the company car back in. I was like, I took out the sub and I took out the sub amp, and I was like, I'm leaving the other amp. This is going to be a surprise for the rental car company when somebody gets under the seat, sees that there's a badly wired amplifier back there. Actually, it wasn't too bad of an installation job. I actually had things pretty buttoned up down there. All right. We're going to call it, gentlemen, lady, any ladies in here and gentlemen. Appreciate you joining me on a Friday night. Sorry for the late notice. Hopefully we're going to get into a rhythm with this, and it'll be every Friday night. Hopefully around 8. Be nice. And we can hang out, chit chat, because we all have such crazy social calendars as audio nerds in our 40s and 50s and 60s. Anyway, I hope you all have a great weekend. Hope you have a great Memorial Day. Be safe out there. Remember the troops. And remember your families. Have a good one. Love you all. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Love you, love you, love you.